for triggers and some asthma work and some NFL talk. We're going to prioritize the NFL talk, but in the NFL mock drafts, but we're going to also mix in some triggers. Perfect. Okay. We're going to start. We're pretty easy, pretty simple. I have it right here. For some reason, very red colored fruit by the foot, kind of hello type of a snackage. And I'm going to rip off some of this. I'm going to rip off some of this. Hello. This is my welcoming of everybody. I'm christening you with fruit by the foot. This is me giving it to you. Yeah, take it. And that's enough. But I can give you more of this. For you. Tastes real funny. A little weird in my throat there. Y'all seeing this? Huh. Well, I'll leave the rest to your imagination. So we're gonna glitch, it's funny. We're gonna go ahead and get started with the NFL draft. Sorry, I spoke with a candy on my tongue. Alright. Let's do the one with trades first, because that's just more fun. More fun. Don't have high expectations for the triggers this one's, because they're not going to make sense. They might be good, but they're not going to be well thought out, okay? So if they're good, they're either easy. I'm not going to explain it. That's too much work, so that's what I'm trying to avoid. Number 1, first overall pick. Is it really gonna be Bryce Young? Is it really gonna be Bryce Young? Is it Bryce Young? To Bryce Young or not to Bryce Young? That is the question. So, Bryce Young's smaller. Bryce Young's, but he's apparently the more NFL ready. Apparently he's smarter. Personally, I like CJ Stroud more than Bryce Young. I'm not an NFL evaluator. I'm just some guy. And I also did not watch all of the games or did I even watch most of them? No, I'm not a college watcher. I watched the playoffs, but that's it. I gotta say, the games I saw of Bryce Young, the few of them, did not look nearly as good as the 2 games I saw of CJ Stroud, which included the one against, argued one of the best defenses of college football history. But, and I normally am like, you never know with these kind of things. And I'm about to say it again, you never know with these kind of things. Because it seemed like the whole CJ Stroud thing and like McCown, the quarterback coach there, it seemed like it was going to be almost like a given. That was going to be Stroud. But it seems that they are now in favor of Bryce Young. And that could be for one of two reasons. I'll list a few actually, with more than two, but the likely answer, one, the ownership decided, hey, we want Bryce Young. And that could be from a number of reasons, which I was going to list anyway, which included the fact that like Peyton Manning endorsed, which like that's not like a huge deal, but like the NFL is very nepotism-y. So when you get a review from like a Manning, it's versus an insult from a Manning, it's usually good. Stroud's like quarterback rating assessment test was like an 18%. That doesn't mean anything to me personally, but whatever. But whatever the reason is, see, Bryce Young's odds to be selected are ridiculously high. They are ridiculously high. You know, we're gonna do this. Yeah. Bryce Young's odds to be selected are ridiculously high, or sorry, I should say ridiculously low in terms of Vegas odds drafting, because when you look at the odds for the number one overall pick, Bryce Young is like negative 2,400 or negative 2,000, something like that. It's something very crazy. So it's very strange. Not very strange. It's very it's telling that the like NFL's like, hey, we're drafting him. And they could genuinely do that. They might actually be doing that. Or it could be a big smokescreen. Could be a big smokescreen. Could be a big smokescreen in the fact that they might value all of them about equally, and are 50-50. I don't know if that was heard or not. Are about 50-50 between Stroud and Young. To answer that question, I think it depends on the trades. I think he could be a Patriot. I think he could be a Commander. He could be a Falcon. I don't think he will be, but he could be a Falcon. He also could be an Eagle. I think if either of those two teams, the Falcons or Eagles, trade back, I think Bijan could very easily fall into their lap. Where was I at? Thank you for the question. Excuse me. I think what the ultimate game plan for the Panthers is lure the Texans to trade up just one spot, just one singular spot. Trade up just one spot, a pick swappage of the one spot, and throw in like what, a third rounder, next year. That would probably move the needle enough. If they really feel like it so much. But if the Panthers truly don't don't value them all like that, and only like Young that much as the Texans do, and value the other two quarterbacks like the Texans do, then it would make sense for them to hold on to that pick there, unless they're offered something even better, like a second round pick, or maybe even a first next year, which is probably what they're trying to leverage, but I don't think they're going to get. I feel like they've already discussed it, and they already have like a middle point that like the Texans are like, we're not going to go past this, or that on draft night they will be willing to go past it, and then the Panthers are also at a point where they're like, we're not going to accept it until draft night, in case they like panic. I feel like that's the case. Yeah, I'm gonna brush you a little bit. So I think it goes Bryce Young at pick number 1, whether it's the Texans or the Panthers. In this case, I'm going to keep it to the Panthers. I don't think that they're going to reach an agreement. I think the Texans value other quarterbacks fairly highly, because Bryce Young isn't perfect. He's not like an incredible quarterback prospect, in my opinion. He's a good one, just like the other ones are. But that's just my humble non-quarterback scout opinion. So we're gonna move on to pick 2. That was a lot of talk for pick 1, right? Yeah, a lot of talk for pick 1. Pick 1 was Bryce Young. And pick 2 is gonna be, it's I'll tell you what it is right now. It's Will Levis. I don't feel I'm not happy doing it. I'm genuinely not happy making that my pick. I really am not. Because I haven't watched him, to be honest. I'll be 100% honest with you. But I don't love what I have watched, but I can see how he has suffered from the situation around him immensely, more than maybe more than even Florida's quarterback, Anthony Richardson. But the reason I don't want to do it, because they have other options, but I think they'll do it. Because the Texans are kind of crazy like that. The Texans don't really make the most sense. They just kind of just behave in a way that's like, oh, you're an NFL team, right? Okay, all right, keep going. So it seems Will Levis has become, or always has been, their star boy, their golden boy. So, and I know I say this because the draft odds are like very much leaning in favor of Will Levis being drafted at 2 to the Texans. So that's something. Oh man, do you know what I didn't even think about it just now? I don't know why I didn't think about this. What if the Texans trade back? What if a team... Thank you. I appreciate that. I am untethered and my rage knows no bounds. If the Texans get a call from someone like the Lions, like, hey bestie, how are you? Good, I hope. Okay, cool. Your pickup. Okay, cool. I'm trying to take your spot because I'd like to take CJ Stroud, because we know you're not going to take CJ Stroud, but we like CJ Stroud and we just want to take him. We know we're at pick 5. Like, we're at pick 6. You only got to deal with the Cardinals, who won't take him, but they could trade back. You also got to deal with the Colts, who will definitely draft a quarterback. And then you got the Seahawks, so, like, one of them's probably, they probably won't both take quarterbacks. I can see that happening. It won't happen. That won't be the case, but I can see it happening. So I'm going to go with Will Levis at 2. I don't love it, but I'm going to do it. I don't love it, but I'm doing it. There's a lot of possibilities were there at 2. They could trade up the 1 spot. They could. I don't think they will, but they could trade back because they already have pick 12 as well. So that's another pick to play with. I think they also have a first round pick next year, if I'm not mistaken. Take a sip of my beverage as we move on to pick 3. Okay. So here we're at pick 3. And we have our first trade. Can you believe it? Our first trade. I'm gonna do a little of this. Our first trade is going to be. It could be a number of teams. A number of teams could be trading up for this. It could be a bidding war. I can do the drip. The sip requires a little bit more effort than I want to give right now. I'm a little tired. I'm lazy. But later maybe. But here's some of that. Here's some of that drip. Excuse me. My ugly faces as I readjust. Okay, can you hear me correctly? Anyone say something that you can't? Yeah, you bet. Anyone say anything that they can't say something? I'm like having a stroke. Okay, we're good. You let me know if you can't hear me. Because I just adjusted the mic. And I want you to be able to hear me over the sounds of drippage. So, as I was saying, to answer Miggy's smaller question, same place to do every year. Elimination first round. Temperature checks. Yeah, I can do that too. That's in a bit. Yep. Clutchbox, how dare you? Pick 3. The Cardinals have this spot, and an important thing about NFL trades and the draft specifically, there has to be somebody on the board that they are trading up for. Specifically, like they're not trading up for that pick unless it's pre the draft. It's usually during the draft. They're trading up for a player, not a pick, a player. And in this case, who's the best player on the board? Well, there's a few that you could argue, but when you take it into positional importance, who's the best player on the board? It's C.J. Stroud. Trying something new with the sound. You like it? Thank you, thank you. I appreciate the compliments, my friends. Do a little bit more. What got me to ASMR? Sleep. Sleep got me to ASMR. Thank you for the compliment. I've been up and coming for a little bit now. But I guess it's all a process, isn't it? Sorry. It's all a process, isn't it? Okay, so pick 3. The Cardinals are trading back from pick 3. They're trading with the Las Vegas Raiders. The Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders are trading up for C.J. Stroud. The Raiders are picking C.J. Stroud. Now they could sit back and take a player at pick 7. That's not far off from pick 3. But the thing, but obviously it's in the top 10, so it's premium. You pay for there. You might have to use a first-round pick next year. Might. Probably will. But that's the thing with the Raiders. They don't. Sure, they have Jimmy Garoppolo, but like that's not the long-term answer at quarterback. And then everyone knows that. Mike McDaniels wants to be there around a while, right? Of course he does. So he needs his quarterback, and Jimmy G's not that. Sorry. He signed a 3-year deal, which is essentially a 1-year deal when you look at how the contract is structured. So I think it's a quarterback if they get lucky this year. If not, they draft another one and then punt on the situation. So they draft one next year and then punt on the situation currently. Because it's not like the worst situation for them to play Jimmy G for the whole year, hoping he makes it the whole year. But it'd be nice to start the grooming process of quarterbacks in that way. The Cardinals uniform change, I think the home uniform is one of the worst in the league now. It already was, but it's arguably worse. The away uniform I like, and the black uniform, I think it's okay. I just think it looks like Ohio State, copy paste almost. So I only like the white version. If I'm gonna tier them, the Cardinals uniforms, if I'm gonna tier rank them, I'm gonna give the white the highest, black at the mid, and the red the lowest. I'm gonna give the red a 2 because I don't hate looking at it. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 2 because I don't hate looking at it, but I do get upset looking at it. I'm gonna give the Ohio State one. See exactly. I'm gonna give the Ohio State one a 5. 4.8. I'm gonna give it 4.8 because even just there, I didn't think of it as the Cardinals, thought of it as Ohio State. It's just how it is. It might change, but I didn't, not right now. So give it like a 4.8, just short of the 5. And then honestly, the aways, I'm tired of teams doing full whitewashing because it looked good whenever a few teams did it. Now everyone's doing it and it looks stupid. So, not stupid, it just doesn't look as good. So 7.6 for the whites. 7.7 for the whites. The Cardinals uniforms. Sidetrack there. Speaking of the Cardinals, they could stick here. If they did stick here at pick 3, they would take Tyree Wilson. I think they would take Tyree Wilson because when a little spoiler alert for the next mock draft I do, that's also going to be in this live. Yeah, they take Tyree Wilson because he fits what their needs are better. They already have Myjai Sanders. Myjai Sanders, not a world under, of course not great. No, is he? No, he's a good player. He's a not rookie, but here's the important part. They used him for the promotion of the new uniforms. And you know what that means? You know what that means? The team picked him. The team picked him, which means they have high expectations for him for this year. Drip. That's an edge player. So I think if the edge isn't gonna be the guy, I think they can draft the defensive end instead, which is also kind of an edge, but it's more of a thicker version of edge. Like the same way that Calais Campbell is an edge and Von Miller is. There's a difference between the two of them, but they both play edge. They're going to draft the more Calais Campbell-y one of those two players because they have more of a need at that spot. But in this case, they traded back with the Raiders. I'm sure there's other teams that are looking to trade up to that spot, but the reason the Raiders did it is because they have 12 draft picks this year, and a good amount of them are really early. So, also, if you want to see something funny, just look at the 49ers draft picks this year. They look stupid. Like, they have like 4, 5, even say 4 picks that are all like in the 200s. I don't think their first pick is until like it's 60 something or 90 something. Crazy. Yeah, I'd love to work with Dr. T. I kind of tried to. Like, he shouted me out because I found a trigger that he would use, and I appreciate him shouting me out. It was really cool. And then I made a video because I was like, I'm going to capitalize on this. I'm going to see if I can get him to do a collab with me. And I, not called him out, but I was like, this is an open letter to Dr. Nemizark. I never replied to it. But I think you watched it. So that's all I care about. I don't know Tom ASMR. We Stanley. Stop. As a UK oh, okay, never mind. I thought you meant like England. I was like, what does Levis have to do with the I get it. I think he's what I've seen. I don't like it. Thank you, Stanley. I don't like it. Because all like there's 2 things. Okay, let me read this. There's 3 things about Will Levis that I like. 2 of them are real. One of them's stupid. And there's a few things about Will Levis that I don't like. And some of them are also the positives. Let's list the positives first. 1, cannon for an arm. That usually ends up working with quarterbacks. At least, like, in recent memory it has. Not always, but in recent memory it has. He was in a position where he didn't really get the best help surrounding him. Yeah. And then 3, he's a weirdo. He seems to be an absolute, just downright fiend, even. I can't remember, what it was. Mayo and something. I don't know if that was like a promotional thing specifically with that, but I think I've seen a couple things since then. And even he had like the whole workout thing, but like he seems like a weirdo. And in recent memory, weirdos tend to like do pretty well in the NFL. Like not like the full weirdos in terms of like the mean guys, but I mean like the silly fuckers. Those are the ones. See, that's what I'm saying. The bananas with the peel? Like, what kind of caveman, what kind of Neanderthal does that? A quarterback, that's who, a Tim Tebow. And that brings me to the negative sides. Also, I didn't just pick my nose, I was rubbing to see if there was oil on it. He's a weirdo. That's also a negative. It seems like he might not fit right. Yes, in time. It's right over there. If you're sticking around for that, it might be a minute. I'll come back to it probably next after this. Okie dokie. Okie dokie. Willows. He also the whole ripped thing, like, oh, I'm muscular now. It just feels weird to me. I don't know. It just like it's one of those like I've seen this on with bad quarterbacks, and then there's another one that I just see. It seems like a red flag. The whole like Instagrammy shit, like, oh, he can throw like hit a crossbar from 50 miles, like 50 miles from 50 yards away. Impressive. Too bad you literally cannot throw a football from your knee in an NFL game. It's just not something they allow because it's taking a knee. There's no reason for that. I think if he goes to a bad team, which he probably will, he will be bad. I think if he goes to a good team, which he probably won't, he will be above mediocre. That's my hot take. But like I said, if he goes to a bad team, he's gonna just get everything surrounding it. Just eat him alive. I don't think it's gonna help. That's my Will Davis thoughts. Thank you for asking. And I'm glad you asked because that's my 4th overall pick, right? Sure is. So that was my 2nd overall pick. I lied. He was my 2nd overall pick. We already talked about that. We didn't talk about him. I'm gonna go back up here because I missed something. He snowballs? Yeah, I figured he would. That's pretty cool. Love hearing that, Miss Boy Elmer. She's great. She's sweet. Like, she makes it really, really smart and like, I don't want to say thorough, but like, not divisive. Precise. She makes very precise ASMR. And she also likes to explore with it too. And I was very happy she was willing to work with me, because I brought it up to her, and she said she hadn't really done collab before. She ended up doing one with Currens right at the same time, so it worked out. She's very good. She's more like gamey. She's why I have all this stuff in the back. I don't know if I'm gonna keep this set up, and I don't know if y'all don't like it. Yeah. But I've done some collabs with some people I'm very thrilled with, so I can't be any sort of upset about anything that has or has not or should have happened. So I just won't be. Pretty simple. Thank you for everyone for the comments. NFL war predictions, buddy. We're at draft season. What are you talking about? Well, that's kind of crazy, Cole. That's kind of crazy. Do I think Rodgers? No, I think he should have got traded last year. I think he should have got traded last year. What did do. There's 34 of y'all. 36 of y'all. Levis and the Colts are a match made in heaven. No, I mean, yeah, they are. They do seem pretty good together. But, like, he'd be such a good Texan. He'd be such a good Texan. Because, like, the Colts are a good team. The Colts are not, like, a great team, but they have a team around them. The Texans are a building team. But, like, if you take away that inertia of that budding team, I don't know, buddy, I don't know. So we're at pick 4 now. We're at pick 4 now. To recap the top 3 picks that we've had so far, we've had Bryce Young, we've had Will Levis, we've had C.J. Stroud, and now we are at pick 4, which is going to be Anthony Richardson. Mr. AR-15 from Florida. Tell me if you've heard that one before. I'm sure the government officials have. About how many times this year? Yep. When do we get it changed? Never. Why? Money. Back to football. The Colts owner. He tweeted out a picture of 4 quarterbacks, and he said, talking about the draft, he's like, the draft is like 1 month away, 4 quarterbacks, and he tweeted like Anthony Richardson, C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, Will Levis, basically saying, hey, I'm gonna draft one of these 4 guys, but at the same time, are we gonna trust that to not be a smokescreen? Personally, I am, because Jim Irsay is fucking crazy. And I think Jim Irsay was like, you know what, I feel confident with these. Like, sure, there's ones I like more, but like saying I like these guys isn't gonna cause any of these guys to rise to the board or affect how each of them fall anyway. I'm sitting here at 4. I'm gonna get one of these 4. Sure, if it's the 4th, whatever. I'll talk about trading up. Of like if one of the guys I likes falls. Like for instance, the Colts could easily trade up to 3 if Stroud falls and they like Stroud and they want to take a better spot than the Raiders do. I could easily see it happening. But no, I think they sit put and take whatever quarterback falls to them in this scenario. And it's gonna be Richardson. Richardson's the most raw, apparently. He's the most athletically gifted among all of them as well. And it could be good, but the thing is with Indy, the current starter is Gardner Minshew. I'm a big Gardner guy. I'm a big Gardner fan. I love Gardner. I love me some Mississippi Mudflat. But he's not going to start the whole year. Should he? Probably. Let's be real here. But will he? No. And they're going to start Anthony Richardson, and we're going to find out if he's good or not early, or if he's raw or not early. As raw or advertised, not, I should say, early. I think we'll do okay. I don't think we'll do great. I don't think they're going to go to the playoffs or anything like that. The AFC is more tough than the NFC is this year. So I could see AR struggling for just a little bit, but I think he could adapt. He could be like a powerhouse tight end. Zeke is not Zeke. Pollard's phenomenal, and tell me who their tight end is. Nobody. That's right. There's probably somebody, but Dalton Schultz is a free agent, so he went to the Texans to take balls from Will Levis. Now we're at pick 5. And just to recap the picks 1 through 4, it's quarterbacks. It's quarterbacks. Is that going to happen in real life? I don't know. Sweet Dreams sticks the best. Is the best. Yeah, I don't know how long this is gonna go. I have 2 mock drafts. I'm at pick 5 for the first one, so I'm gonna be here for a little while. I'm probably gonna go a little bit like progressively faster as this goes through. And then when I get to the second mock draft, I'm probably gonna go pretty quick because I'll probably be very tired by then. And I'll just be listing names more so because I probably have already talked about the players and also fits. Yep, that's that. Now we're gonna continue with this one. We're at pick 5. We're at pick 5, and like I said, we had just quarterbacks. We had just quarterbacks up until this point, which that probably will not happen in real life, mind you. But I'm predicting it right now. And sure, like, it's a fairly common prediction right now, so it could happen. But even then, like, it's not a statistically probable thing. But then again, neither was Davis Mills converting a 4th and 20 for a touchdown. As likely the last offensive play of the season. Exactly. So we're pick 5, and we have the Seahawks. Thank you. I take pride in my creativity and my absurdity. Will Anderson. They have their choice of anyone in the draft who isn't a quarterback named Will Anderson. No, named Anthony Richardson, Will Levis, C.J. Stroud, or Bryce Young. And they're gonna take Will Anderson. They could take Tyree Wilson. They could take Jalen Carter. They could do any of those. But I think they go Will Anderson because of how their team is structured. They don't have a true like edge guy on their team that they can just say like go stick them. They could stand to add in the interior of the D line for sure. But when you look at that roster, like they just signed Draymond Jones. There's another one in there who's pretty decent. And like they have not like a tremendous amount of people there, but definitely more people on the interior than they do lining up edge. 28-3 is okay. It makes more sense to get the edge guy, especially when he was already touted as being potentially the number 1 pick last year. So they're gonna grab Will Anderson at 5. I'd be happy with it. I could see them grabbing Tyree, and I could see them grabbing Carter. But I think Anderson is most likely. And also, so does Vegas, in terms of the odds. Moving on to pick 6. We have a team that I think is fairly common. Well, not fairly common. I feel like this pick is fairly easy to predict. But then again, as I'm saying that, I hope I'm not wrong. I think Jalen Carter here. I think this is Jalen Carter. I think this is where he's gonna go. I think him and Hutch are gonna make for a nasty D line for a while. And I think that one of the reasons that the Lions are also gonna do it is because they're gonna be like, well, if we don't take him here, he might go 7. That's fine. He might go 8. That's fine. But if he goes 9 to the Bears, we're gonna be regretting that the entire time he's a Bear. Twice a year. No, you don't want that. Absolutely, you don't want that. So they're going to draft him at 6. Moving on to pick 7. We have the Arizona Cardinals after trading back with the Las Vegas Raiders. The Cardinals have needs at D-line, cornerback, safety, soon-to-be receiver, O-line. Yeah, that's it. And even running back. So they have needs everywhere. They have picks between third best edge, so the second best edge, or arguably the first best edge in their opinion, potentially, in Tyree Wilson, who it's like a 50-50 shot between this guy and then the other one, which is a cornerback, and it's either going to be Witherspoon or it's going to be Gonzalez, and I'm fairly certain Witherspoon is much higher touted than Gonzalez is in terms of the draft stock. So I think it can be Witherspoon or Wilson, and I think it's like a 50-50 shot between the two of them. Genuinely, like, this one's really hard to predict. I ended up defaulting to Witherspoon because how much of an impact corner had, like the rookie corners had on their team last year. Stingley did really well, but even more Sauce did phenomenal. I think that's going to affect. And the Cardinals, sure, like, they need D-line. They definitely do. Definitely need D-line. But neither of their starting corners are starting caliber. It's scary. So I think they're going to go ahead and just grab the best corner. So not solves a need, but it solves your CB1 issue, which is a huge issue to fill. So I think they're going to do that over the potential D-line piece extraordinaire. And now here we're at pick 8. And this is a pick that I'm a Falcons fan. That as a Falcons fan, I did not think would be possible, because I was like looking at like the players I like, and there's 2 that, like, I've listed 3 that I was like, wow, there's a chance they follow us. You know, in theory, 4 quarterbacks go off the board. That pushes the draft down 4 picks. The draft doesn't start till pick 5, right? Well, since the draft doesn't start till pick 5, that means we just have to survive 3 players getting picked ahead of us, right? 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 3 players. And then we pick at 8. And then so that just means we'd have to not lose the defensive lineman. Or, and that's also hoping that quarterback get taken that early. But in this case, they did. So that pushes Will Anderson down the board. Jalen Carter got pushed down the board, but he got taken. And Witherspoon is a guy who I'll be happy with. I'd love to see him on the defense, make the defense just good luck. Good luck beating it. But since I have the priority of the Cardinals taking them, I think that Wilson's going to fall. In theory, if 4 quarterbacks go off the board, that means Anderson, Carter, Witherspoon, or Wilson will be there at 8. Take whichever one's there at 8. In this case, I think it's Wilson. Shockingly, it could be any of the 4. It could be Anderson. It could be Will Anderson. In a way that I don't think it would be, but it could be. It's probably there's a chance of it. But in this case, Will Anderson. No, Tyree Wilson goes at 8 to Atlanta. Great place for him to be raw and learn some rushing techniques from Calais Campbell and other players there. Like, it looks like we have a defense. What the hell is happening? It's crazy. And we'll probably have a decent offense too, depending on the rest of the draft. You could stand to add another running back for depth. We could stand to add a wide receiver. We could stand to add a depth tight end as well. And an offensive guard, potentially starting. So in the NFL draft, I hope the Falcons come away with a defensive superstar on either corner or defensive lineman and those people, or accumulate more draft picks and trade back and take someone like Nolan Smith or Bijan Robinson, and then fill in more later with maybe a corner, which, like I said, get a superstar, then you're kind of good on defense, and then go get a guard, go get a wide receiver. And then after those, BPA. Like, you go BPA with between those, like, those first three positions, guard, center, hybrid, even tackle. But then after you get those first three guys, those three, that defensive superstar, that guard, and that wide receiver, you BPA, pure BPA, baby. Yeah, that's my opinion. Moving on to pick 9, another pick that I've been suggesting for a hot minute and have not changed for a hot minute. What am I gonna do about it? I don't know. It's Paris Johnson Jr. I'm gonna pick him at 9. I think he's probably the best tackle in the class, and why not put the best tackle in the class with the team that needs the tackle the most out of all of these teams? That would, like, I don't need to explain that. It makes sense. Moving on to pick 10, I thought about putting Bijan here. I really did. I really thought about putting Bijan here. Not only did I think about putting Bijan here, but I also thought about putting... Actually, I had Myles Murphy there for a minute. Before I scribbled it, like, where I erased it and put in Peter Skoronski. Because the way that the Eagles have been operating, yeah, they like to grow their defensive linemen a year early, a few years early, and their corner, all their players a year early. They like to have depth at certain spots, of course. But the way that, like, they do their offensive line is truly just they have a solid O line. Cool, let's draft in the guy high. They did it already. Like, they had a replacement for Mr. Jason Kelce already, and Landon Dickerson. They said, well, Kelsey's playing a while now. You should just kick over to guard. So now Dickerson plays left guard. The right guard left for Pittsburgh. And now the left tackle is very good, younger, and he'll probably stay a while. Lane Johnson might not stay that long. Lane Johnson might retire soon. So that means they have a hole at right guard and a hole opening up at right tackle relatively soon. It makes sense for them to go ahead and fill the need, right? Well, they kind of already have a right guard, like, starting. His name is Ken Jurgens. He didn't start last year. He was supposed to be the center insurgent after Leonard Dickerson got moved. But like I said, Kelsey's still there, so they might just say, hell, whatever. Let's run the 3-center guard system. But I don't think that's the case, and they're going to draft Skoronski here, who's going to fill in at right guard immediately. And if Lane retires soon, which they hope not, of course, but if he does retire soon, then you can fill in right there, right tackle, probably, if his arms allow that. And that is the top 10 of draft picks of my picks. I'm going to tell you what they are again. I have Bryce Young, Will Levis, C.J. Stroud, getting taken by the Raiders, Anthony Richardson, Will Anderson, Jalen Carter, Arizona trading back and grabbing Witherspoon, Atlanta Wilson, Chicago Johnson, Philadelphia Skoronski. Now moving to pick 11, we have Tennessee drafting Broderick Jones, tackle. They just need a tackle. They need plenty of teams. They need plenty of spots. But they need a tackle and a receiver desperately. And they had very good success with a guy named B. Jones for a while, so on the O-line, so might as well. Pick 12, based on how the board's fallen, they think they want, like, in a dream scenario, they get Carter here. That's not going to be a dream scenario. So I think they're going to kind of just sit and see what falls to them. maybe consider a trade back. Maybe consider taking a receiver for their new quarterback, right? But I think they're gonna go offense, go defense, because new head coach is defensive coordinator, so might as well get him something that he can make his own little thing, right? Well, let's go ahead and grab a leader on defense, and it's gonna be Nolan Smith. He could become an edge superstar, but he's an edge prospect at the moment. A raw but very good athlete and very good football player. And raw in the sense that, like, he's not a finished product. I like him a lot. I wouldn't be upset if Atlanta drafted him. Even at 8, I wouldn't be like upset about it. Okay, cool. They trust him at 8. Sure. Whatever. Not necessarily the ideal pick, but like I trust the team. So even 12, even here at 12, it makes sense. Moving on, pick 13, we have another trade, and that's because there's a supreme talent left on the board. And there's two supreme talents left on the board. And I don't think that anybody is going to be trading up for Bijan. I love Bijan, but I don't think any team's going to be like, hey, we need to go get him now. I think a lot of teams are like, hey, if he falls to us, we're taking him, though. But someone else is on the board named Christian Gonzalez, who I think has some crazy cornerback measurables that are going to entice teams. That are going to make teams think of him as a spot above the rest of the corners, like Joey Porter. So I have Pittsburgh getting aggressive here and trading up to pick 13. Now this could easily be a tackle. This could easily like continue the tackle run of Johnson, Skoronski, Jones, and then continue it with Darnell Wright, or even Dewan Taylor. Is there more? I think there's more. But Darnell Wright would like to be the next one there. And I could see them doing that. I could genuinely see that it would make a lot of sense. But Mike Tomlin, through my time of understanding it, I'm obviously not perfect with it. I think he prioritizes defense. And sure, he's got his two starting corners. He's got his two starting quarterbacks out there. But at the same time, he's got his two starting tackles. Not necessarily two like good ones. He's got a okay one and then a below average one. So you don't ideally want to start either of them, especially not both. But when you can either try to fix something that's kind of ailing it, which obviously it's going to help the quarterback in the running game as well. Or you could try to make what is already a very good part of your team, which is your defense, and especially your secondary, go from very good to arguably shut down. And this is a very high comparison, and he is nothing like the finished product that was Pat Peterson as a prospect. But Christian Gonzalez is a very raw and athletic, he's a very athletic, he's not raw, but he's a very athletic corner. And when you have an athletic corner, you might as well get him to learn behind the best corner in the game. Not the best corner in the game, sorry, the best athletic corner prospect of in recent memory who actually panned out. And that's Patrick Peterson, who's on the Pittsburgh Steelers roster currently. Pair him with Pat Pete, and you've got a solid 1, 2, 3. And then I think, who's the other guy? Not Sutton. I think he's signed somewhere else. They have another guy. That would be the Steelers. They trade up for that, and then moving on to pick 14. I think the Steelers. That's the only. I think the Patriots would take Christian Gonzalez here if he were to fall to them. But in this case, since the Steelers traded up, because I think they would be aware that Bill Belichick would be snarling at the bit to get his hands on an athletic corner like Christian Gonzalez. Instead, Bill Belichick will get his hands on potentially the best player in the whole draft, in Bijan Robinson, the running back. There's reports that they want to add on offense, more specifically as a receiver. They've technically got like 1, 2, 3 down, as far as I know. They could stand to add. They could definitely stand to add. Don't back me up on that 1, 2, 3 thing. I might be wrong now the more I'm thinking about it. But Rhamondre is very good. But they used both running backs last year. I could absolutely see Bill Belichick going, man, I'm tired of this rookie quarterback kid. I can't do anything yet until he's either better or I can get someone else. You know what I can do, though? I can take the offense out of his hands. And how do you do that? With a true 3-down back. Rhamondre is great, and you can use him. But he'd be one hell of an accent. So, Bijan. Ask questions later. Next pick is the New York Jets. The Jets now have Aaron Rodgers. Wow. It took them long enough. They finally have Aaron Rodgers. Now they have Aaron Rodgers. You gotta protect him. You got the receiving threats. You just gotta protect him now. Alright? Well. Best offensive lineman on the board, right? That's what you do. You grab center. Too early for that. You grab a guard. A little early for that, unless there's like a truly phenomenal one on the board. There's not, so. What do? You grab tackle. You could use a tackle. They're gonna grab Darnell Wright, guy who's been gently going up draft boards. Now we're gonna move to pick 16. We're at Washington. We're at the Commanders again. They're gonna grab a corner. They're gonna draft a corner or maybe an offensive lineman. I think they could go one other position maybe, but I think corner makes the most sense for them. One, team wise and depth wise, it does, but even more importantly, in terms of the talent in the draft, it matches up with where they pick. They are in the teens. They're right there in the middle of the first, and there's going to be a lot of corners drafted this year. In the first, so far there's been 2, one in the top 10, and then one just at 13 that somebody traded up for. And here goes corner number 3 with Joey Porter Jr. at 16. And trying to get ahead of that cornerback run. Next is the Green Bay Packers after trading back with Pittsburgh. They're going to grab Jackson Smith-Njigba. You already know the whole thing about the Packers not drafting a first-round receiver. They do it here because it wouldn't be funny despite Aaron Rodgers. Now we're at pick 18. We're at the Detroit Lions. There's been rumors that the Detroit Lions want to trade back. I buy them. They're gonna grab a top 4 at the very least talent at pick 6. Might as well trade back a little bit and get a team around it more so. That's what I interpret that as. And they also realize that they're in like a golden spot where like the best of the talent's kind of running out. My battery percent is awful low, folks. I'm gonna speed this up real fast. I feel bad doing that. Hold on. No. I'm not that tired. I'm gonna fix it. I'll fix it. This is so much work. Let's see if I change angle of this. This is like so close, so we're gonna. Hell yeah. I'm dropping fucking everything right now. Hello. Oh my gosh, we're so fucking not there. Hold on. Son of a bitch. We're so fucking close. Hold on. Charging. Yeah, here we go. Alright, well, this is a bit fucked. But hey, we're rolling. Doesn't have to be perfect, we're rolling. Okay, we're up. Let's just resume where we're at. Pick 18, Detroit Lions. Pick 18, the Detroit Lions are picking. I think they're going to trade back. There's rumors they want to trade back. I buy it. I think a team that is likely a buyer and trading up, it's also been reports that they are willing to trade up as well. And that is the Dallas Cowboys. Then there's been a recent insurgence, I don't know, that they are going to draft a tight end first. They could do that. They could sit at 26 and wait to see which one falls to them. Or they could trade up a few picks and go get their guy. I think they're going to go get their guy. I think Detroit is going to want to trade back enough, and Dallas is going to want to trade up enough, and they're going to get a deal done. Dallas is going to trade up with the Detroit Lions and select Michael Mayer, the tight end from Notre Dame. And then the next pick is another trade up, and that's going to be the Los Angeles Chargers trading up to trading with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and drafting Zay Flowers, the wide receiver. Why did they trade up? Well, they traded up to get ahead of the Seattle Seahawks, who will be drafting Jordan Addison in this case, because Jordan Addison is the perfect replacement to Tyler Lockett whenever he retires, and that honestly finishes the whole team. Like, they need a edge rusher, which they got in Will Anderson already, and they need a wide receiver 3, and they got that one, and Addison. Only thing they have left is 3 inside linemen. That's all. They got two tackles that are good. To draft a guard, and a center, or 3 guards. You could trade back from this spot and draft probably the best guard or best center if you just trade back a little bit from this spot, which I could see them doing. But you'd have to have someone trade up. You can't just trade back with nobody. You have to have someone giving you a worthy offer. And I think there's a player that is worth it. Actually there's 2, which actually kind of hurts the value. there's a few corners that are all about the same value, like up ahead, and there's two defensive ends that they're about the same type. One's an edge, sorry, one's defensive end, and the other one's a linebacker edge. So slightly different, but around the same type. Two defensive tackles as well. So that's why I think no one ends up trading up with this with the Seahawks for this pick, and the Seahawks are just kind of forced to take the best guy on their board, which is Addison. And Seahawks would be the team to take a guy who shouldn't go in the first, which he has the production to go in the first. Definitely does, absolutely does. He just did not perform well in terms of athleticism, and there's also some other questions. Moving on to pick 21, this is where the Buccaneers traded back to. Yep, they only traded back 2 spots with the Bucks. With the Chargers, so now the Bucks now take this spot, and the Buccaneers take the guy they probably would have taken anyway, which is Lucas Van Ness. He's going to be the replacement to Shaq Barrett, and they always need more rotation guys out there. They love drafting first-round edges anyway. They're going to prioritize their defense. They lost some guys in defense. They're going to lose some more on defense, and they're going to try to make it so that they don't lose. Like the losses are minimized. Moving on to pick 22, it's Baltimore. They don't have to look far. They're just going to draft the closest corner in proximity. That's going to be Deonte Banks. Moving on to there is going to be Myles Murphy going to Minnesota. They're probably going to end up having to move on from the current edge they have there. I can't remember his name right now. That's not Hunter, but the other one is Smith. Darius Smith, I think it was. He's having issues there for some reason. They're probably going to move on from him. That makes it easier. They always want to add more talent at edge anyway. And he's probably BPA. The next pick is the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I think they're going to take a tackle. They could sure, Walker Little's fine at tackle, but they mostly played him at guard, and he played well at both. And so might as well just, and also even if your left tackle isn't he's not phenomenal, he's good. You want a great left tackle. This guy could eventually become a great left tackle because you have a franchise quarterback. You want as much protection for that franchise man as you can. They already have all weapons for him. They have a tight end. They have the 3 receivers. You could stand to add a second one and eventually have him replace the thing, or whatever. But why would you do that when you can just draft a guy you can probably start this year and make your starting offense better immediately? That's my opinion on that. So the next court player is. Next team is the New York Giants at 25, and they're going to take a cornerback, so they're going to be Khalil Ringo, or it's going to be Cam Smith. I think that's what his name is, right? From South Carolina, the cornerback. So I'm just going to give him Cam Smith because I think he fits with them a little bit more than Ringo does. But Ringo doesn't have to wait long to hear his name called, as Detroit takes him with the next pick at 26. Now, I think Detroit had some thoughts on some other players. For instance, not Dalton Kincaid, but Meyer, and maybe Kincaid, but I feel like Ringo is just a player that has enough potential to lure them. You know what I mean? It's like an extension of the Jeff Okudah kind of thing. Like, they got a 5th-round pick back from it. Okay, now turn that 5th-round pick they got, use one of the 1st-round picks they have into an extension of the rookie contract and see if this guy can develop into what they thought Okudah was supposed to be. Next pick, you got Buffalo Bills. You can kind of look around at certain teams, see where holes are, so you're like, oh man, you really gotta fill that. The Bills could send to add a receiver. There's none available that are worth it here. They could send to add tight end, I guess, if you really want to go with the 2 tight end sets. They could send to add defensive tackle. That's for sure. Especially if Ed Oliver is on his way out, which it kind of almost seems like it may be. You want to add defensive tackle. But most importantly, and what I've seen them emphasize the most this offseason is the protection and sustainability of Josh Allen, their superstar quarterback. They need to keep him upright. How do you do that? Good offensive line. They have okay tackles. They don't really need a tackle. Well, they could stand to add one though. But look around here though. All the best tackles are gone. Best guards available though. You could stand to add Dewan Taylor, but the big hole on the team is guard. The big hole on the team is guard. Center is going to be a need next year, maybe the year after that, but like guard is a need now, badly. So they're going to take the best guard there. Torrance. Move on to Cincinnati at pick 28, and there it's going to be Branch. It's Brian Branch, I do believe, the safety. They drafted Dax Hill last year, and if they draft Brian Branch this year on the same spot, then guess what? They have two young elite safeties probably. And if you have two young elite safeties, then it's a pretty good way to not realize that you just lost both your starting safeties to free agency last year. Good way to do that. Next pick is going to be the Philadelphia Eagles, and they're going to draft Isaiah Foskey, the defensive end from Notre Dame. Plays very hard, very aggressively. That's something the Eagles love on their D-line. And they're going to need a replacement for Brandon Graham next year, so might as well draft one now. Especially since they've drafted the defensive tackle replacement already, but they could draft another one because more bodies there. Which it depends which one they like more. Like if they like Cansey more and he's available, if they like Brees more and he's available, if they like Foskey like more and he's available like he is here. And then the last pick of the first round, pick 31. Somehow the Chiefs are getting away with taking Dalton Kincaid. Hello. Are taking Dalton Kincaid at 31. Crazy. Absurd. That's going to be dangerous. Scary. Dalton Kincaid and Travis Kelce on the same field. Stupid. And then when Travis Kelce retires, then you just have the second coming. That's unfair. That's stupid. It's stupid. Mahomes would never... hell. The NFL would be in hell. But that's typically what the Chiefs do, and everyone people are like, man, the Chiefs would be too good if this happened, and then some guy falls that's too far for than they should be for the Chiefs, and they draft them. That's oh wow, they're gonna be too good. One that came to mind, for instance, is Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They drafted him, and they're like, oh man, it's gonna be crazy, and then Clyde Edwards-Helaire got his job taken by a 7th rounder. Alright, well, I'm a sleepy boy, so I have just one more bit to share with you before I bid you adieu, and that is the trade list mock draft. I'm just going to go through the names. I'm only just going to say the names because I'm a sleepy boy. I am a sleepy boy. Bryce Young, Will Levis. Sorry, I'm going to say the team. Bryce Young to the Texans. Well, Bryce Young to the Panthers. Will Levis to the Texans, Tyree Wilson to the Cardinals, Stroud to the Colts, Anderson to the Seahawks, Carter to the Lions, Richardson to the Raiders, Witherspoon to the Falcons, Johnson Jr. to the Bears, Skoronski to the Eagles, Jones to the Titans, Nolan Smith to the Texans, Smith-Njigba to the Packers, Gonzalez to the Patriots, Darnell Wright to the Jets, Bijan Robinson to the Commanders, Porter Jr. to the Pittsburgh Steelers, Meyer to the Lions, Van Ness to the Buccaneers, Flowers to the Seahawks, Murphy to the Chargers, Banks to the Ravens, Ringo to the Vikings, Harrison to the Jags, Cam Smith to the Giants, Kincaid to the Cowboys, Torrance to the Bills, Branch to the Bengals, Brees to the Saints, Foskey to the Eagles, and Kancey to the Chiefs. A few notable differences between the two. Gonzalez was taken by the Patriots at 14. Bijan was taken at 16. And that pushed Porter down a spot to Pittsburgh, who missed out on Gonzalez, but they got Porter Jr. The Lions then were traded out of 18, so they take Michael Mayer. Van Ness still goes to the Buccaneers, but at a different pick. Flowers goes to the Seahawks instead of Addison. Murphy goes to the Chargers instead of the Vikings. Ringo to the Vikings instead of the traded back Lions. Anything different? Oh yeah, the Cowboys take Kincaid at 26, which removes the chance of the Chiefs taking him. But the Chiefs, basically in this case, take the remainder of the three players of Isaiah Foskey, Brian Brees, and Kalijah Kancey. They would probably be content with any of those three. Whatever one is available of those three, they'll take. I think Kalijah Kancey would probably be the most. Maybe. Okay, I think Kalijah Kancey is probably the best defensive tackle of those defensive end of whatever of those three, whatever. But Brian Brees has like the build that they like to go for typically, so I could see them going in, which is why I had both Kancey and Brees go to the Saints in different drafts, even though they weren't affected by previous picks. Foskey stayed with the Eagles because it just seems like an Eagles pick. He definitely seems like a Chiefs pick too, but also like almost equal amounts of Eagles picks, so can't draft a player twice. But yeah, I think that's all of it. Anything that's different? I didn't say. Addison does not get drafted in the first round in this one. He's the player that fell. So if he fell, who rose? Hold on, what's it day? Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Well, that's wrong. I don't have Will Levis anywhere on this mock draft. I don't have him anywhere. Yeah. No, I lied. I'm an idiot. He's there at 2. I'm stupid. He's right there at 2. So who dropped? Addison dropped. Sorry, so who rose? I'm genuinely confused now. I'm doing pretty okay. I'm a little sleepy, boys, so I'm probably about to end this in a minute. But I feel like a big old silly head, only because I can't figure out what player I added to this 31 that I dropped for. Because I know I dropped Jordan Addison. That's something I did. He was the Seahawks pick. He's now no longer in the first round here. But actually, I can just play the chase game. So Flowers was the one, which means, and Flowers was a Charger before. So he's go to the Chargers, which means he was Murphy. which means go to the Vikings. And Ringo, which means go to the Lions, which is Meyer, which goes to there, which is the same pick. Oh, it's Brees. That's what it was. I figured it out. Yeah. It's Brian Brees. That's what it was. It was Brees. Yeah. Yeah. It was Brees. That's who it was. Okay. Yeah, I'm about to end this. I'm tired. I'm sleepy. Oh, this is for you. It's like flowers for Algernon, but like it's fruit by the foot wrapper for you. Yeah. I'm so tired. I want a waffle though. Like a waffle? Like that sounds so good right now. Sounds so good right now. Oh, happy mock season. Draft is on Thursday. Excited. I hope everybody's had a great day. Thank you all for being here. I hope the 18 of you that never left, hope you're all asleep. Hope you're sleeping soundly. Beep, 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 beep. Draft season approaching. What else was I gonna say? I love you all dearly. There we go. That's pretty good. Okay, oh, all of my playlists are updated and fixed. Check those out. Check out my, what else? I'm gonna make some more posts in my community tab soon. They're either gonna be polls, or they're just gonna be some more smaller, more precise announcements. Thank you all for your time. Sleepy boy here is gonna go grab my cat and go to bed. Thank you all for watching. Good night. Sweet dreams. Happy draft season. Woo.